I had a really, really bad day today. You know that meme that's like, today drained me? That was me today. The kids were not listening. I had to raise my voice many more times than I would have liked to. I wasn't patient. I was prideful. I would look at the disobedient children and I was like, this is why I'm never gonna send my children to public school. And I was thinking it. I didn't say it. I was just thinking it. I was just very frustrated. And I was just thinking, like, God, like, how can I be like you, like, in the middle of those frustrating times? Ephesians 4:26 says, be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. My job is so easy when the kids behave. When the kids don't behave, that's when I start to, I guess, like, you could say my true colors start coming out. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I get frustrated. And, you know, it's just like I know it's just a bad day. You know, it's not a bad life. I know that. I would love to be one of those people that during those hard times, they're not like frustrated. They're not like passive aggressive. They can just actually like genuinely be patient with others. It's just something that I want to practice. Like, I don't have any tips because I actually need to practice it. It's something that I need to practice. Some other thing that I read is, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Reflecting on my day, I'm thinking, instead of like letting the frustration take over, I should have changed my perspective and thought of it as a challenge. And I should have, you know, thought of all the little tools in my teacher tool belt and thought, okay, this didn't work with this group, like, let me try this instead. And just seeing it as a challenge to overcome instead of seeing it as like, oh my goodness, these kids are so bad. And like being impatient, because I was definitely impatient like a lot of my day, if I'm being honest. Another quote I saw from Amy Carmichael, it says, the hardest thing is to keep cheerful and loving under little things that come from uncongenial surroundings, the very insignificance of which adds to their power to annoy, because they must be wrestled with and overcome, as in the case of larger hurts. Some disagreeable habit in one to whom we may owe respect and duty, and which is a constant irritation or our sense of the fitness of things, may demand of us a greater moral force to keep the spirit serene than an absolute wrong committed against us. She just wrote that so beautifully, right? It's just a fancy way of saying, like, when we have to deal with irritations and annoyances like that, like, we should take the higher road, and we should, you know, I should have been more like Jesus today, and I wasn't, if I'm being completely honest. Instead of like telling the kids, like, we need to be quiet right now, I could have been like, friends, like, I've already asked this many times to lower our voices. You know, there was definitely, my tone could have been better. There was so many things that I could have done better today. And it's not to beat myself up, like, I'm not perfect. And in the moment, I did become impatient because of how the kids were acting. But it was just like something for me to reflect on and just be like, we need to improve on the patience for sure. And I just wanted to share that because I think a lot of times it can be easy to kind of justify how we act, and we can think, like, I could totally justify the way I acted today by saying, you know, these kids need to be more respectful. These kids need to listen to authority, and like all these things that I could justify for the way that I acted. But in reality, I myself could have been more patient. I could have been more loving. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves and what we can improve on, and my patience is something that I need to be like improve on. Something I noticed, this is so embarrassing to say, but whenever I have to repeat myself, it's so frustrating to me, because I'm like, I literally already said that, you know? Not with like people, I just mean like with my students. When I have to repeat myself, I'm gonna be honest, I tend to be a little sarcastic with the children, and I'm just like, I respond to them in a way that sounds annoyed. It's just something that I'm gonna work on. And like, I knew it was gonna be a hard day today, gonna be honest, because of the grades that I was working with, but I thought, like, no, like, it'll be fine. But it wasn't fine. And the way that I reacted to it didn't help the situation. And so that was so jumbled up. But basically, like, patience is one of the fruits of the spirit, and it's something that I personally need to work on. I think patience with others is hard, but I think it's also very transformative. Like, if I put myself in the mind of like one of my students, had I been more patient today, I think it would have helped their behavior, because they would have thought, okay, like, she's really taking the time to wait on us, you know? I don't even know if anything I'm saying is making sense, but I just want to share that with you, because I had a really tough day and half of it was my fault. Like, I just encourage you to be honest with yourself on like what areas you need to work on, and just challenge yourself. Like, whenever you come across something that, you know, brings out that that flaw of yours, if you will, then see it as a challenge to, you know, overcome it. You know, I don't think like while on this earth, because we're sinners, we're ever gonna overcome. You know, like, I'm sure I'm making this video, I'm sure I'm still gonna be impatient one day, but I think it's just constantly trying to work on those things and constantly trying to improve yourself, and just trying to be more like Jesus. That's just something I'm gonna be working on. I hope you could take something out of this video, and I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a better day than I did today. I know the rest of the day will be better. I'm gonna see the rest of my week as a challenge whenever I come across some difficult students, to see it as an opportunity for me to be a better teacher and to be more patient and to be more like Jesus. And I hope you have a good day.